Hey everyone, I just watched Rye Lane. I heard about this and I heard good things, but I didn't know what to expect going into it. I knew that it was a romantic comedy and that was about it. While I don't think this film escapes the trappings and cliches of its genre, I do think that this is special and I'll get into why in a second. If you don't know, Rye Lane follows two 20-somethings both reeling from bad breakups. They connect over an eventful day in South London. It sounds quite typical, and I think on paper it could come across that way, but when put on screen it carves out a unique place for itself, that is done mainly through its style. Visually, Rye Lane is extremely colourful. You could probably tell that from the poster. It's one of the most vibrant and colourful films I've seen in a while. It's refreshing to see England, or more specifically London, shown in this way. I'm used to the more limited blue and grey colour palette presented on film. This was refreshing in many ways, not just visually but also in its style as well. It has an absurdist sense of humour about it, with unrealistic but hilarious characters. I found this film really funny, and a lot of that is down to the great performances. No one is taking themselves too seriously and everyone does a great job. The colourful visuals of this is supported by really creative and interesting cinematography. Most of Rye Lane was shot on 24mm glass. This carves very distinct distortions and aberrations that really adds a lot to the identity of this movie, making it a visual feast. It captures South London in a beautiful way. The same thing can be said about the costume design, which, ironically enough, Yas, one of the two main characters, wants to be a costume designer for film. The costumes here are all colourful and full of life. Again, just adding to the style and vibrancy of this movie. If you couldn't tell by now, purely through the style, visuals and humour, I think that this is pretty special. Rye Lane is especially impressive by the fact that this is a feature film debut by British filmmaker Rain Allen Miller. It does, however, fall into the predictable formula of a lot of rom-coms. There's a meet cute, which actually wasn't that cute, and not so typical, which I'll give the film props for. The film starts off with Dom crying in a bathroom. Yas hears him and takes a look at his shoes, which she then recognises later on, and decides to spend the rest of the day with him to cheer him up. But other than that small alteration, it's fairly typical with its structure and plot beats. We get the falling out and getting back together again third act finish. Even a big gesture of love is used here, which for some could be an eye roller, but I thought it was a nice callback to an earlier moment in the film. Rye Lane has a lot of these moments which call back and come full circle. It's good storytelling and happens often with small and big moments/scenes. Towards the end, I did get a little irritated by the fallout between Dom and Yas, because I didn't think that it was believable and kind of just came out of nowhere. Obviously there was a reason for their fallout, but I don't think it was strong enough, especially with how strong their connection was for the whole film. That is my main complaint with the film. For a film with such a unique presence and style, it doesn't really subvert or change any of the conventions of the genre it's working in. That is okay. Not every film can be 500 Days of Summer, but it would have been nice if it didn't fall into the same trappings and tropes. I just don't think the fallout was necessary and it could have done something else instead. This movie has so much going for it in many ways, but its structure is not one of them. The things that it does have going for it is pretty much everything else. Good, fun characters, an electrifying style, good jokes, and charming callbacks. It's refreshing. I really fell in love with how Rye Lane pulls off everything that it does. It's short and sweet, coming in at an hour and 23 minutes. This is a good thing because it's very to the point. We don't get a lot of time wasting. It's compact and streamlined. Now, following the conventions isn't necessarily a bad thing. They are conventions for a reason, and that's because they work well with a general audience. But in 2023, that's not really enough. So to be great, they have to go beyond that by either subverting expectations, executing really well, or doing something unique, whether that's through its style or a number of other ways. Rye Lane's biggest strength is how it executes what it does, because what it's doing is fairly generic, but because of the style, cinematography, absurdist humor, and bubbly world of the film, it creates a different experience than what we're used to. I definitely could see how someone else could write this off as cute and forget about it later, but for me, I thought it was refreshing and one you should definitely check out. For my score, I have and still am going back and forth between 3.5 out of 5 and 4 out of 5. This is because I don't know if there's enough substance to qualify for a 4 out of 5 rating. Obviously, it has the style to back it up. But for now, I'm going to go with a 3.5 out of 5. And that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications, do all of that stuff because that would make me a very happy boy. And goodbye for now, I guess.